Due to popular demand, we have stayed in Europe for this small but incredible series. We will get to the other continents in good time though, don't worry. Also, thanks for all the suggestions in the first two videos. They make up pretty much all the stadiums in this video. But before we get into the stadiums, today's video is once again sponsored by the OneFootball app. Whether your favourite team's stadium is big or small is completely irrelevant. OneFootball has got you covered regardless, with fixtures and results for basically every competition under the sun, as well as transfer updates and a news feed that is tailored to your preferences. You just select your favourite teams, competitions, and even specific players if you want. Too easy. And it's absolutely free. So if you would like to download the OneFootball app, please click the link in the description below. With that being said, here are 10 more small but incredible football stadiums in Europe. Stadion Vostovac, a stadium that sits directly on top of a shopping centre. Not an underground shopping centre, just a regular one that happens to have a stadium on the roof. Now you might be thinking that that's just a crazy idea they've come up with, just to be different. But it actually makes perfect sense. Land in the city is expensive, so why buy land when you have roof? And it's a win-win for the shopping centre, who get an influx of shoppers. Of course, the shopping centre and the stadium were built simultaneously. The football team didn't just get in a helicopter one day in search of a nice piece of roof to put their stadium on. That would be incredibly dangerous. Olympia Helsingborg. Back to normality with this one. Don't let the 1898 date of opening fool you, it's practically a different stadium. It used to have wooden stands and a running track, and even up until its most recent renovation, it looked like this. But these days it looks way better, and although it's not out of this world or anything, it's just a cracking little stadium. Okay, there's nothing particularly special about it, but can't we just have a normal stadium every now and then? Stadion an der Alten Försterei. You might be aware of this stadium, it is after all in the Bundesliga. And you might be asking, what's so incredible about it? Well, thanks for asking. I had heard that this stadium was built by the fans of the club. I was wondering whether they meant in a metaphorical sense, like how someone might say, the railways built this country, or the truck drivers built this country, or even the lollipop ladies built this country. But no, the supporters actually contributed most of the labour for the stadium's reconstruction. First in 2008, then in 2012. So hats off to them. No! If only he kept his hard hat on. Stadion Cantrida. And now back to the slightly unusual ones. This stunning stadium was built on the remnants of an old quarry. Similar to Estádio de Braga in Portugal, which a few people suggested. But it's not small, is it? So, yeah. It's also within a few meters of the Adriatic Sea, so there's no shortage of scenery at this place. But let's be honest, if this stadium was just located in a field somewhere, it wouldn't really be considered a very good stadium. So it is set to be demolished and replaced with a brand new stadium built on the same site, which will incorporate the cliff face into the design, but the view of the sea will be blocked unfortunately. Thanks mate. This stadium is tiny, but clearly it's not the stadium itself that is spectacular, but the location. Man, what a spot. This is absolutely beautiful. And wait a second, is that a castle? Are you kidding me? Can I live there? Okay, it's not quite a castle, it's a fortified wall. If you were going to be picky, it does have a synthetic turf field, but who cares? Stadium am Zoo. This stadium has a lot going on. Firstly, the facade of the main stand is quite nice, but this little section here looks especially stunning. Secondly, the fact that the field is overlooked by a heavily wooded hill makes for a very picturesque view. And right by the stadium is a monorail. Not just any monorail, a quite famous one, because the carriages are suspended from the rails. Unbelievably, it was opened in 1901. I can't even imagine what it must have been like for the people back then. Futuristic would be an understatement. The stadium even has its own station. I think there are plans to renovate this stadium, but I'm not sure what's happening with that.
What the heck? Okay.
Stadio del Conero. Wow. This is such a beautiful setting, just carved into the hills of the Italian countryside. It's quite an unusual design. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm looking at. Oh, those are entrances. I'm not sure why there are so many, but it looks pretty cool from the air. The original club that played here, AC Ancona, folded in 2010. Then a Phoenix club was formed, but they folded in 2017. And then another Phoenix club was formed, and they're still going. Hopefully the current club, US Ancontina, builds up a solid fan base. It would be such a shame if a stadium like this went without a tenant. Estadio Virgen de las Nieves. Located on the volcanic island of La Palma in the Canary Islands is a stadium situated in an absolutely spectacular location. So spectacular that I don't even care what the stadium itself looks like. The very fact that there's a stadium here is just mind-blowing. It's not just spectacular, but also rather precarious because, well, look at that. I hope that landslides aren't too common in that area. I mean, at least it's not on the side of a volcano or anything like that. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, it is. Staying on La Palma, we have another stadium situated in a slightly unconventional spot, Estadio Silvestre Carrillo. Unfortunately, there's no 3D imaging available, but just look at where it is, deep down in a ravine on the side of a volcano on an island. If the volcano were to erupt, I wouldn't fancy its chances. Who was the guy that first laid eyes on that location and thought, you know what? That is a perfect site to build a stadium. Although I'm not sure there is much flat land on this island, to be fair. Just look at that. Absolutely majestic. What a cool island this is. And now the much less exotic, but even more charming, Craven Cottage. It's probably familiar to most football fans. At the time of recording, it's a Premier League stadium. Why have I included it? Firstly, it's called Craven Cottage, so it has uniqueness with the name. Most stadiums are called Park, Field, Arena, or Stadium. Also, if it were any closer to the Thames, it would be swimming. What's that? Huh? Oh, they've been relegated. Oh, okay. They've just been relegated. Okay, well, that's a shame. Where was I? Oh, and of course, I shouldn't forget the quaint little cottage pavilion. It's over 100 years old, and it just adds a certain charm that distinguishes it from all the other Premier League, Championship stadiums. And those were 10 more small but incredible football stadiums in Europe. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.